that. There are other ways, really, he interrupts me. Other ways of stamping out vermin like yourself. Such as yourself. No, I'm afraid there aren't. For some reason, people equate it to murder in this day and age. Of course they do. We aren't vermin. We're human beings just like you are. If you say so, my blood, he says, his eyebrow raising. What you do isn't bravery. If you weren't such a coward, you would refuse your master. You would refuse to commit such atrocities in his name. Why should I refuse him? He asks. You seem to be laboring under some misapprehension that I do what I do presents me with some kind of moral dilemma. Well, I should tell you, Miss Granger, that I don't have any problem with it whatsoever. Whatever I do for the cause, and for what I am prepared to do as far as I possibly can, no matter what the price. But why? I ask in sheer desperation. Because the end justifies the means, he replies, his voice raising in exasperation. I find myself unaccountably remembering the night I was captured. You've said that to me before. I look at him very closely, wanting to see him react in some way. I wonder, do you really believe it? I don't have time for this, he snaps suddenly. Perhaps things are getting a little too personal for him. He grabs me savagely by the arm before dragging me violently out of the room. I allow him to drag me down the corridor, too tired and too ill and too confused to put up any sort of a fight. We arrive outside the huge stone door to the great hall, my skin on my arm burning, where he grips me. We haven't spoken to each other since we left the cell, but my little speech he made in my room fills my mind, clogging up my brain. No matter how hard I try, I can't bring myself to understand him. Perhaps you should try a little harder. Why should I? Why should I try to understand reasoning like that? I can't. Or you won't? The sound of rising voices filters out from behind the stone door. Is Voldemort back already? Let it have gone wrong, please. Let them have failed. Let everyone be all right. I look up at Lucius, who frowns slightly before pushing the door open and pulling me into the room with him. The hall is filled with people in black robes, most of them looking as if they'd been in a fight. The air buzzes and burns as they all argue with each other, shouting and screaming at one another in rage and confusion. Something must have gone wrong. The only sound of them not talking is Voldemort. The only one of them not talking is Voldemort, who stands in the middle of the room, his pale, horrible face twisting in inhuman rage. I involuntarily flinch at the sight of him, my body jolting with fright. Lucius looks down at me for a second, as if he felt me do it. How does he feel when he sees his master? Do you grow used to that face with time? Or do you become so accustomed to that you learn to swallow down your fear? Voldemort brings his spindly hands up to grip his temples before throwing his head back and screaming into the room. Silence! That scream knocks out all the breath out of me. All of the Death Eaters shut up instantly. My heart beats so hard I can feel it in my ears. Voldemort lets the silence spiral horribly through the room. How can they revolve their lives around the mood of this one man? You have to do the same now. You have no choice but to do so. You stupid, useless people, he shouts, looking around at his servants who all seemed to recoil slightly from him. "Is it not enough that you have failed me, without proceeding to insult me by blaming each other? How dare you conduct yourself like this in my presence?" A sudden rush of hope makes me go dizzy. Something must have gone wrong. Why else would they be acting like this? Voldemort looks over at us. "Don't just stand there!" he hissed at Lucius. "Bring her here!" Lucius grabs me under the arm, almost lifting me off my feet as he drags me towards Voldemort. "My lord," Lucius asks as we reach Voldemort, "did everything go as planned?" "No, it did not," Voldemort answers slowly. "We managed to get ourselves into the Weasley home, surely enough, but Potter was not there, as you told me he would be. He wasn't there." Lucius sucks in his breath next to me. I can hardly hear him. Harry's safe. He's safe. But what about the others? What about the people who were there? I won't let myself hope. Not until I know that everyone's all right. "My lord, I had no idea that the information I provided you was faulty," Lucius says swiftly, his voice shaking slightly. "The girl assured me that what she told me was true. The quill did not contradict her." "I do not have time for excuses." Voldemort raises his hand. "I do not blame you, but I would ask you to see it that the girl is punished for this." "Oh, for God's sake, why? I had no idea he wasn't there." "It doesn't matter. Just be grateful that it turned out that you weren't telling the truth after all." We forced our way into the house, but they must have seen us coming. "They? Oh, God. Oh, no." Voldemort turns away from me. "Us. Us. Always us." She's got that unity thing going on with him for no reason, even in chapter 5. She's like, turns away from us because we're a unit. Not me and not him. Us together as one because we're together. Boom, chicka bow wow. It's not him. Anyways. She walks around the hall as she... Bleh. And Voldemort turns away from us and walks around the hall as he speaks. I think that this speech might be intended not just for Lucius, but for everyone in the room. As we got into the house, everyone present was either apparating out of there or using the fireplace to escape via flute network. He pauses for a moment, pushing his hand to his forehead for a moment, as if this is a painful memory for him. It took us only a short while to realize that Potter wasn't there. Voldemort brings his hand away from his forehead and looks at Lucius, who tenses behind him. A few Aurors remained to try to hold us off while the others escaped. I searched around for the girl, the youngest Weasley, thinking that perhaps we could make the best of a bad job, but I could not find her. She must have escaped before we entered the building. I sighed with relief as quietly as I can. However, Voldemort adds, cutting my relief short, the trip was not entirely in vain. We managed to capture someone whom I think will become very useful. If I'm right in my assumption. No, I can't breathe. Vomit burns in the back of my throat. Who have they caught? Voldemort turns to a large group of Death Eaters standing in the back of the hall and clicks his fingers to them. Bring him forward. A couple of men break away from behind the crowd of Death Eaters, dragging a limp body between them. A body with a blaze of red hair. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. It can't be. Revive him. Revive him. There we go. That's my Voldemort. What's up, Voldemort? What's up, okay. Voldemort says coldly. Coldly? That's the word I'm looking for. Yuck. Water is very vital. Holy shit, it's 1:30 in the morning. Oh wells. I will wait until the end of this chapter, which is done in 4 pages. Okay. Revive him, Voldemort says coolly. I watch, forgetting even to breathe, as the Death Eater points his wand at the boy and I don't know why I'm bothering to hope. It's him. I'd know him anywhere. Innerverate. Innerverate. There's a groan, and then his head moves slowly upwards, his eyes drowsily flickering as they begin to focus on Voldemort. That's him. No hoping otherwise now. Run! As the sound of my voice, his face turns to me. You. He breathes incredulously, his eyes wide. I don't stop to think. I wrench myself from Lucius's grasp and run over to Ron, throwing my arms around his neck as when I reach him. The Death Eaters holding him let him go, and the pair of us fall to the floor. I thought you were dead. Thought you were dead, he whispers hoarsely. I lean back, running my hands over his face. I wipe the trickle of blood away from the corner of his mouth, and he gasps as my fingertips clumsily catch the deep gash on his cheek. Oh God, I'm sorry, I say hurriedly. I'm all right, he mumbles through his tears. It's not your fault. Shh, save your strength. I bring his head back to my shoulder, rocking him back and forth while holding him to me. The tears run thick and fast down my face, running into his red hair. He shouldn't be here. He can't be here. But still, I thought I'd never see Ron's face again. I sigh and roll my head upwards, gulping, trying to get some control back. My gaze is staggered by Lucius. He's just watching us. But it's different about how Voldemort's watching us somehow. He's got his lip curled as if... What? I don't know. Quite honestly, I'm starting to think that he might not really know what his true emotion is, let alone understand it. Voldemort turns to Lucius, who turns away from me, robbing me of my one chance to decipher his expression. I don't know why I bothered trying. I'll never be able to understand him. It's a touching reunion, isn't it? Is it not? Voldemort asks mockingly. Lucius doesn't smile. He just inclines his head slightly. As you say, my lord. Voldemort raises his eyebrows slightly. Well, whatever you think of it, you cannot deny his importance to our cause. Now we have not only one, but both of Potter's closest friends under our control. The advantage this gives us is monumental. I grip Ron tighter to me. I want to block out everything else. I want to keep this moment. I want to stay here with Ron, together like this for long enough to forget everything. If I'm permitted to ask, how did you manage to get hold of the boy? Lucius's voice pierces through the shield I have built around myself. It was all too easy. Voldemort replies, His charge. I can't do this. I can't do the voice from the movie.